Hello everyone, and welcome to another 3 printed wooden railway video. Before I begin, I want to say that my printer is currently having a problem. I don't know what is wrong with it. It might be the new filament. My mom has ordered some more filament, so it should be here tomorrow. And I'm hoping that this filament will do its job correctly because it's messing up every time I try to print some new wheels. Now, my last few wooden railway wheels were printed just fine, but currently they're screwing up, so I'm hoping to get that problem fixed. So at the time, this may be my only wooden railway video where the wooden railway models get put on hold. Although we might still do 3 printed wooden railway, it might take a while, but slowly but surely I do hope to complete this set. And let me show you the list here. So right here is a list of all the wooden railway characters that I want to print. And some of these you guys have suggested, and some of them, there's some that you haven't suggested yet, but if you guys would like to pick a character from one of these on this list that you want me to make next, tell me in the comments below which one you want to see next. Anyways, oh, and I've also made the troublesome trucks here, so I'll do a review on them as well soon. Alright, so let's begin. Let's start with this one here. So this was a character who was from the same person who suggested Edward. And this is Henry, the green engine. So Henry is another one of my favorites because he's got a long body like Gordon and 4 wheels here. The tender's pretty simple. Although the tender isn't exactly purported to be Henry's tender, it's just like a recolor of James, Edward, and Gordon's tender, and it does have the flat coal like the 1994 Henry. And this is based off of the 1994 Henry, with the funnel and the dome, and the notch on the back. You may be asking where I got the wheels from. The wheels were from like this random wooden train that you can buy at Walmart. Like, they got some wooden trains. They aren't Thomas & Friends. They're a different brand. But they kind of look like Brio wheels. But, so what I did was, I had my dad remove the nails that hold together the bogies. And I got some screws here that hold the wheels into place. They don't spin as freely as Gordon, but the wheels do still turn, so I'm sure Henry will be able to take corners well. And once again, I think this Henry looks great. I do like all my models that I've printed, and I'm starting to get better at making these, because this looks so identical to the actual wooden railway Henry, minus the fact the wheels aren't exactly the same as Henry's wheels. But I do love Henry here. I like these for their older style of... I do still own Thomas Wood, and I use it in my series, but I just thought I'd make these for fun. And I like to thank whoever suggested Henry. Like, thank you so much for suggesting Henry. Henry was one of my favorite characters. And I wish that Mattel never made the stupid decision to replace him and Edward with female characters. Even if they wanted to, they could have at least chosen Rosie and Molly. And if they wanted to replace someone with a female character, they should have replaced James. Because James was responsible for crashing into the shed and costing Edward to sleep with Philip, so it's kind of James's fault. But anyways, what do you guys think of Henry here? I love how Henry came out. I love how identically accurate he is to the 1994 wooden railway Henry. And he does have the magnets, and he rolls well as well. Next we have Oliver. Oliver here is another one of my favorite characters. Henry may be one of my favorite characters, but I don't know. I do like Henry, because I find Henry interesting. I mean, Henry can get sick sometimes, but Sir Topham Hatt always makes him feel better, like gives him Welsh coal and whatnot. Henry was out of character in Season 8, and he was kind of a wimp, so that's why I didn't like about the show in the Miller era. Anyways, let's talk about Oliver here before I get off topic. So, Oliver here is based off the 1994 trains as well because of the bevel funnel and the dome here. and the notch in the back. At some point, they decided to give Oliver like a more realistic funnel, like in a TV show, to be more accurate. But then in 2003, all these models have been changed, and their proportions aren't as enjoyable as these proportions. Still, I think this is a nice representation of Oliver. I love his GWR and his number 11, and even the windows here. Like, this is so amazing. Like, all these models have turned out great. So, Oliver's one of my favorite characters because he's Great Western like Duck. And Douglas actually helped Oliver escape from Scrap along with Toad. Sadly, Isabel was a Railway Series character who never had a TV series adaptation. Britt Allcroft missed the perfect opportunity to put Isabel in the TV show because Isabel is Oliver's coach and she usually rides in between him and Toad. So I thought it would have been cool if Isabel was in the TV show since she's Oliver's coach. But nonetheless, I think Oliver here looks great. And Trainboy17 suggested Oliver. So Trainboy17, if you're watching this, thank you so much for suggesting Oliver. I promise to make Donald and Douglas as soon as I can, just when my printer doesn't act up. Now, Oliver doesn't roll as smoothly, but he still rolls perfectly. Alright, last but not least for this video, until I have the time to make more, is Emily, the Emerald Engine. Now, this is one of my absolute favorite female characters, and one of my favorite characters in general. And let me explain about Emily's design before I talk about her character. So, her tender is kind of similar to Donald and Douglas's tender. I just got inspired by my 3-printed Earl miniature Emily to do this. So, I don't think the proportions are right, but I still like her paint job. I tried to make Emily as accurate as I could, but I wanted to slightly alter her a little bit, just to feel interested, I guess. But I still love the white here on the thing here, and the golden stripes. And let's look at Emily here. So, one thing that I changed about Emily was I gave her, like, the beveled funnel and the notch on the back, like the older trains. Because this is how I imagine Emily would have been if they just chose to keep this design here. So this is probably an old style Emily. This isn't actually Emily from Wooden Railway. But I tried to make her as accurate and as good as I could. I still think Emily looks great. And what I'm really surprised and happy for is that I was able to get Emily's wheel configuration just right. Like, Emily's got this big driving wheel here, and these 2 wheels on the front. And she does roll smoothly. Emily is one of my favorite characters. I like her for her Season 7 personality better than her actual personality they gave her in Season 8. I mean, Emily in Season 7 is like this sweet and kind engine. Like, she rescued Oliver when she was first introduced. And she stood up for Salty when Thomas and Percy were making fun of him. She was worried about Henry when he was having boiler issues, when he was leaving water everywhere. And she did give Bulgy the idea to become a vegetable bus and Bulgy rides again. Emily may have appeared in only 4 episodes of Season 7, but that did not stop Hit Entertainment from making her one of the main protagonists. Now, I love the fact that Emily was part of the main 8 characters when she was put in Season 8, and she was put to good use. Now, one thing I did not like was that Hit Entertainment made Emily out of character, as well as all the other characters. They all acted like 2-year-olds, which was very, very annoying. Older fans hated it, including myself. I don't know how kids felt of the series, but Hit Entertainment aimed Seasons 8 through 16 toward a younger audience, so the plots of the episodes are dumbed down, and the characters have to be out of character. I wish that didn't happen. I mean, I understand why Hit Entertainment did that, but I still hate the fact that Thomas's friends acted like 2-year-olds. Like, this is not who they are. This is not how Britt Allcroft created them. And especially, this was not how the Reverend Audrey created them. Sorry for being stuttered. But Reverend Audrey and Britt Allcroft never made the characters out of character. And apparently, CGI, and they gave Emily the number 12, which I find pretty odd. Like, I just do not like change sometimes, because I liked Emily for who she was. Like, her Season 7 personality, her bronze buffers, no number. And this was one of my favorite characters. And I'm surprised that it took Britt Allcroft till 2003 to think of Emily, because the Sterling singles were probably invented in the late 1900s. But it took till 2003, apparently, to think of Emily and create her as a character. In my opinion, you can't have Thomas and Friends without Emily. Emily's just one of my favorite characters, and she's pretty iconic. Now, some of you may not like Emily, but how many of you are Emily fans? Do you like Emily as a character, like me? If so, tell me in the comments below. And what do you think of these wooden trains here? I think they look great as always, and I'm super happy with how these came out. I like Emily's paint job the most, her big drive wheels, and the things I've edited to her. And she does roll perfectly, and she couples up with the other trains. I really wish that Emily was sweet and kind in season 8 through 16. I don't know if she is in seasons 17 through 24, but you guys could tell me if she was sweet and kind in season 17 and 24. And she's going to be in the 2D animation, which I'm super happy for, but apparently the Wilbert W. Audrey was against Thomas the Tank Engine being a cartoon, and now there's a 2D animation going on. I'm very happy that the CGI series has come to an end, because I felt so mad at the CGI series. If you guys have not seen why I hate the CGI series, look that video up. I made a video called that. And if you want to hear my opinion, watch that video. Because I know some of you may not agree with my opinion on the CGI series, but some of you might. Anyways, that's all I have to say about these engines here. And once again, feel free to suggest one of these characters here on my list of wooden railway trains to print, and hopefully I'll print them soon when my printer gets fixed. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.